Hi, this is Micornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of Young Men Empowerment Forum. We are embarking on the topic of things that you can control and those that you cannot control in life as a young man. Very important that you distinguish between those, because there are many stresses and worries. There are many challenges in life that are brought by thinking that you can control other things that you're not able to control, and also not being able to know things that you cannot control. And then those stress you a lot because you could not control them and you thought you will control. And that's the reason why we deal with this topic. And today I want to speak about you can control as an individual your own actions, please. Remember, you can control your own actions. This is very, very important. Now, actions are coming as a result of a well thought ideas, and you've planted them and you've meditated upon such ideas in your mind, and then they are coming to manifest out through your actions. And many times when people act, is because they've actually applied their mind on it. I've seen people that are drinking alcohol, of course, because they want to say something to somebody. They want to behave in a certain manner towards somebody. And somebody says, now, I want to drink alcohol so that I do this thing, and I will apologize thereafter and say, I didn't think about it. But remember that many people do these things before they actually think about it, they plan about it, and they put it in perspective, and therefore they only decide then to project those actions by maybe tipsing themselves with alcohol in order to act, in order to do those things, and then they will apologize and say, I didn't know that I've done this. But remember, each individual here on earth has got power to control their own actions. There's no action that does or act itself. And therefore, you are able as a young man to control your own actions. Don't do things that are stupid, that you will be forced to apologize about. Don't do things that you will be actually regretting for the rest of your life about it. Now, there's nobody who will tell you that they didn't know or they didn't think about it when they did something. They thought about it. And then because they thought about it, then they decided to act in a certain manner. Now, I want you to realize this as a young man, that there are behaviors that may be projected towards you or things that may be said towards you. But I'm saying that your actions can be determined by you. You can either act positively or decide to act negatively. That's still your choice, because it is a choice of how I act. If somebody insults me, I'm still going to choose whether I want to respond by retaliating, or I'm going to respond by keeping quiet and ignoring the person. That's an action that I can choose. There are many other actions that I can do. I can decide to walk away from that particular individual. I can decide to fight back. I can decide to say anything that I want to retaliate against this particular person. So that's all these actions that are in your disposal, that are before you right now. Actually, it is a choice that you make of a particular action that you can actually control whether you want to act that way or not. There are many people that have done things and they will say, no, it was a spare of a moment. Remember? Spare of a moment, but you've chosen actually to act that way. You could have actually spare of a moment, you could have acted differently. But a spare of a moment, please. Now, I want to emphasize the fact that as a young man, take responsibility of your actions and whatever you do, and even the consequences thereof. Because remember, when you are acting, there are going to be consequences at all times. And some of the young men, I know that you have engaged yourself in relationships with young girls and so on. Remember that you need to be responsible. And whatever you do, you must be responsible of it, because there are consequences of what you do. If you relate with young girls, there's a possibility of you having a child with that young girl. And as young as you still are as a young man, realize that you'll be having another individual that you are responsible of, that you need to support, that you need to look after, and that may be delaying to your progress of life. Remember, there are still careers that you want to pursue. There are still some subjects that you need to put in perspective and study. You still want to go to school and succeed and build your career in life. And therefore, when you engage in actions of being involved with the girls, as a young man, remember, the consequences will be dire. Because you may have a child that will need you now not to continue with a career, but go to work so that you can support the child now that has come out of your actions. And you cannot refuse that it is you. You cannot refuse that this is your child. You cannot wish away that child. But these are the actions that you've gone through. I'm emphasizing the fact that you must actually look and say, what will be the consequences of every action that I do? Because every action has got consequences. And as a young man, I want you to be aware that you can control actually your actions based on the consequences that will come around. So please look at the consequences. If the consequences are untoward, they are unacceptable. So make sure that you stop those actions and you don't continue with such actions. I've seen young men that have indulged in alcohol. I've seen young men that have indulged in drugs as well. But yet they expect very good results out of their lives. I want to tell you now that every action, you've got control of it. And of course, every action as well, what it does, it is actually going to give you results. Those results could be consequentially bad or good sometimes, depending on the type of action that you've taken. So please calculate the cost, calculate the risk of it, and look at what consequences will be there. And take responsibility of those consequences and make sure that you do actions that are consequentially very positive in nature. So please, as a young man, please look at that and say, I've got control of my own actions, so therefore I'm going to act positively at all times in my life. Now, what you cannot control, of course, is people's actions towards you, people's actions around you, people's actions towards others as well. You cannot control that. Because remember that everybody acts their own way based on what they've thought of. And I want you not to take responsibility of other people's actions. Don't follow other people's actions because you feel obliged to do. So they act their own way, and you are you. You are an unique individual who's not them. So therefore, don't actually feel obliged to act in a certain way that will please other people. And I'm emphasizing this because our young men have got the tendency of pleasing people and living a life that is pleasing people. You cannot please everybody in this life. You cannot. And you cannot actually act things to please people. Because there are young people that are actually acting because of peer pressure. They do things because they are seeing their friends putting pressure on them, and they want to act that way because their friends are putting pressure on them. Now, I want you to remember, as a young man, that please be careful to know that you cannot control other people's actions, but you can control yours. And you can decide whether to act that way or not. But when people have acted funny against you, that as well, be strong and take it on your chin and say, I'm going to be strong about it because I could have not controlled their action towards me. They've done that and they've acted this way towards me, but that doesn't mean that I'm like this. They might have actually acted in a very funny manner towards you. That should not be personal because you could not control that. You can only control on how then you respond because your own actions then can be controlled by yourself. This is very, very important. When you start to differentiate that, you will actually live a very peaceful life, a better life, of course, that will be more progressive because you would know that I've got no control of other people's actions. So they would actually do anything, anyhow, anytime towards me. And because I've got no control of that, so I'm going to either ignore it, I'm either going to entertain it. That's your own business on how you want to do. But remember that you cannot control the actions of other people. But yet you can control your own actions. And therefore be conscious every time to say, I'm going to control my own actions. And I'm going to be careful of how other people act. I cannot control that. But I'm either going to ignore that or embrace that, depending on whether it is convenient for me. I want to end up here today, your host, Micornus Phokane. Thank you very much for listening to us and being part of this great topic. What a topic we're having, and I hope that you're learning out of this as well. Remember to Click likes to our Facebook page, Micornus Phokane, Facebook page, Young Men Empowerment Forum. Remember our YouTube channel as well, that you can subscribe to it. A lot of materials that we posted in there, so please make sure that you become part of that, learn out of those, and may the good Lord bless you. And allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.